beautiful afternoon in Abu Dhabi. And some of you know me and some don't, so perhaps I'll let you in on a little personal secret. I often get asked, what is your age? How old are you? And then I tell them, and people look a little bit puzzled. And they say, what's the story with the gray hair? And, well, to be honest, I blame firmly the work in the restructuring space on this. It might be the DNA, but I blame the work in the restructuring space. Now, today, this event illustrates the significant step up of the turnaround, restructuring, and insolvency landscape and ecosystem in the region. And to be honest, gathered here today are many of the leading practitioners that see it day in and see it day out, see the successes and see the failures. And not to forget the regulators. As you all know, several GCC countries enacted in the last few years new bankruptcy frameworks, and with the vision to ultimately help companies in a structured manner through this difficult time, but as well to actually enhance the chances that companies successfully re-emerge from a bankruptcy situation. Now, truth be told, sometimes you better let the ship sink, right? Sometimes a company is beyond saving. And in those circumstances, we all know it, what matters most is then a transparent and fast insolvency process that maximizes actually the recovery rates. Now, a few big cases have gone or are still going through those new frameworks introduced. And let's take the example of a large Bahraini company. It filed for voluntary bankruptcy protection early 2019. And guess what? It seems that only this year, actually, there was an agreement reached on the financial restructuring. So thinking about this, that's actually quite a long period, isn't it? And along the way, for sure, there were a couple of hiccups here and there. Now, to be honest, it shouldn't be a surprise that the new introduced regulatory frameworks might need some tweaks here and there, and that the stakeholders involved, meaning many of us here, actually need some time to learn the inner workings, how those frameworks actually pan out in practice. Now, in this sense, it's important that the stakeholders involved in the process, meaning many of us here, continue the dialogue on how to remove obstacles in the process to make the process more efficient and ultimately enhance chances for success. And this is why the Consultative Council, under the umbrella of the UAE's Financial Restructuring Committee, was established. And this is as well why today we have another great platform for open dialogue. As restructuring actually is, let's call it, growing up, I would like to leave you just with 3 pieces of food for thought. And to state the obvious, obviously, the ideal scenario is fight a performance crisis early, so we actually don't get to a bankruptcy crisis. And I trust that over time, shareholders and management will adopt a more proactive approach in engaging in turnaround programs in the earlier stages of the crisis. And equally, I do believe that lenders have a great opportunity ahead to take a more proactive approach to get earlier in the driver's seat, to actually push turnaround agendas on troubled companies in the earlier stages of a crisis. Secondly, Well, 70% of companies that actually go through financial restructuring, but only focus on the financial restructuring part rather than actually addressing the root causes in terms of strategy and operational deficiencies, 70% of those companies, after 18 months, are back to square zero. Only that this time with even less room to maneuver. So in this sense, it's important that all of us always remember that when you go on a diet, in this case restructuring, with this diet you need to make fundamental changes to your lifestyle. Because if you don't fight the root causes, well, you are doomed to fail very fast. And lastly, we are about to see whether companies in the region actually use the breathing room that the government support mechanisms and programs during COVID granted them, or whether they just kick down the can and we are about to witness a surge of restructuring cases. Thank you, and I'm really looking forward to the sessions today and to continue the dialogue with all of you. Thank you very much.